In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio video recorded. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meetings and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. Please address all comments to the chair. This meeting of the Conservation Commission is being held by Zoom. The meeting ID is 812-8378-2929. The passcode is 468905. If you're watching from this at home and you want to actually participate, you can join with that information. And as always, the agenda may be found on the Town of Lunenburg website on the town calendar. There's a link in the agenda where you can just click on the link with one click and it'll bring you right to the meeting. And that's true for every meeting. We'll start with a roll call to see who's here and who isn't. I'm Bob Pease. I'm presently the chair. Rich Burch.
Present.
Jeff Viviano.
Present.
Katie Childs. Mike LaRouche.
Present.
Mary Wilson.
Present.
Rich Tremblay.
Present.
And Anna Petrie is our new conservation administrator. I see she is present.
Yeah.
Look at that. And I think that's it. I did not see the agenda before it was posted on the town website. Let's start with announcements. Does any of the members of the commission have any announcements they'd like to make? I'd like to make one. I got the latest edition of the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissioners fall newsletter. And in it, it listed all the people who had recently completed, I believe it's 8 different courses to become certified as by the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissioners as a as a Conservation Commission member. And I'm pleased to announce that Mary Wilson was in that list. So congratulations, Mary, and thank you for doing all that.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mary.
And I
That's
understand
great,
Rich
Mary. Good
Tremblay
job, Mary.
is on his way to that. He's working toward that.
He is hot on my heels.
Yes, he is. All right, excellent. Well, but thank you so much. That's more than I can say for myself. Any comments from members of the commission? Any
Bob, I could
comments
just have
from
one quick
members?
question.
Rich, go ahead.
Minutes, did they get emailed out? I'm still
They
trying to
did
figure
not.
out.
We
Okay.
haven't got to them yet. They were right after this, but we never got any minutes.
All right, I just want to make sure I didn't miss it.
No, you didn't miss a thing. I just checked my emails and we didn't get any minutes. Anna and Rebecca have been hard at work, getting up to speed on things, and there's a lot going on in the office, with the two relatively new people, and I'm sure we'll get them, before the next meeting.
Yeah, no, I was just concerned it may have been me with the new Outlook emails, still trying to figure that out because it messes up some of my other accounts.
Yeah, I'm having no shortage of problems with the email.
I will say I did send you an email through just like Outlook, and I sent you a link to the minutes, but then again, I don't know, because I don't have access to the Google Drive. Rebecca does. But I sent you an email because I found the draft minutes in our OneDrive.
For December 7th?
Yes.
Oh, because I've never seen any draft minutes for December 7th, and that what typically happens, Anna, is she emails them to at least me
Mhm.
and sometimes to the full commission. And I go through them personally and send them back with track changes. And then we vote on them, and that didn't happen. And so we're not going to vote on them tonight. And so if you could discuss that with Rebecca the next time she's in office, that'd be great.
Yep, I will do that.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So on to, back to public comment. Any members of the public who would like, John Fortune has raised his hand. John, go
Yes, I
ahead.
have. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Hi, I'm John Fortune, 50 Hemlock Drive. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Hickory Hills landowners. I believe many of you are aware that Lunenburg Water District has a well on the shores of Hickory Hills Lake in an easement on the Woodlands condominium property. The well is not currently providing water to the town due to the high levels of iron, manganese, and the pollutant PFAS. Although this well does not feed the water system, it is maintained and pumped often. The water pumped from this well is dumped into a forested area near the well and runs into Hickory Hills Lake without the opportunity to settle out any of the minerals or pollutants. In addition, this water picks up phosphorus, nitrogen, E. coli, etc. along the area and carries that into the lake as well. There is no erosion control before the rushing water enters the lake, so the water brings the embankment along with it into the lake. The Lunenburg Water District has signed a contract with Ty and Bond to study the well. The study will pump the well at 250 gallons a minute for 12 months. To give you an idea of the magnitude of that, that's 360,000 gallons a day, 10,950,000 gallons a month, and an alarming 131,400,000 gallons for the year-long study. As of today, the Lunenburg Water District is planning to just simply dump all this water, minerals, pollutants, etc., and whatever it picks up along the way, right into Hickory Hills Lake. The Hickory Hills landowners request the Lunenburg Conservation Commission act proactively to protect the surrounding wetlands by requiring the water from this well to be pumped to a properly built retention pond where the nutrients and pollutants have an opportunity to settle out before they reach the water body. Assuming a well-drained sandy bottom is used, the pond bottom should be monitored and periodically removed as it becomes hazardous to the wetlands. Additionally, any water discharged back into the lake should be done in a controlled manner so as not to erode the banking. Also, this discharged water should not increase the nutrients of PFAS already found in the lake. I want to thank the Commission for hearing these concerns from Hickory Hills Landowners, Inc., and ask you to act quickly and decisively on this matter to protect these surrounding wetlands. Thank you and happy holidays to you all. John Fortune, and I am the president of Hickory Hills Landowners, Inc.
Thank you, John. If any of the commissioners have any questions or comments about John's public comment here? Rich Burch.
Yeah, John, do you have a water test from the lake to compare to the water coming out of the well?
We have many different tests of the lake.
Okay.
I don't know that we have all the ones that have the iron, manganese, PFAS levels, etc. But we will have that. We need to get a PFAS test of the lake as well.
Okay, so you have no current PFAS test of the lake?
We expect that there is PFAS in the lake. There's PFAS in the surrounding wells, as you're aware. That's why many of the wells were shut down back in the 80s or 90s. So we expect it will be in the water body also already as well. What we
Okay.
don't want is to just add to it. We don't want to make it worse.
All right. I just was questioning if the lake was higher or lower than the water being pumped out of the well. That was why I was asking for the test of the lake water.
Yep, and we will have that.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind providing that to us, that would be great.
No, I will. I have actually another meeting. I'm on your agenda for the 18th of January. I expect to have it as part of that presentation as well.
Okay, and do you have a schedule of when they're gonna start pumping that well for the 12-month period?
I do not.
Okay.
I
Thank
know
you.
it has been approved, and I know they were signing a contract. I assume last time I met with them, they were approving the signing of that contract, so I assume it's going to start soon.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Anna, can you, reach out to the water district, tomorrow? And, ask them when they're gonna start? And, you know, ask, and I think we should discuss the issue of, erosion controls, with them. And John, do you have a copy of your requests?
I do. I could mail it to Anna.
Why don't you mail it to Anna, and so we can share that with the water district, and then take it from there and just see, you know, just enter into a discussion.
Okay.
Thank you. Rich Burch again.
Is there currently erosion problems with the pumping of the well periodically?
In the past, what they've done is they run a fire hose. There's a fire hydrant there. They run a fire hose over the hill. It goes down the backside of the hill. And I know just in the past, they put hay bales down, you know, and it runs down a hill. It's a fairly steep hill. And it's treed, and they put hay bales on the hillside there. And I remember once I called Fran, just in my capacity as a member of the Woodlands, concern, you know, about what was happening with the trees there, that, you know, their roots were getting totally soaked with water. You know, but I think we should take a look at the Hickory Hills Lakes concerns here, and you know, just have a discussion.
Yep, no, I agree. I was just checking to see if there's currently an erosion problem that's within 100 feet of the wetland.
Well, you mean, there was, I mean, it did expose the tree roots, you know how it'll tend to erode down till it hits a tree root?
Yep.
And that's what happened before.
Okay,
And-
but
and-
at this point, no sediment's been running into the lake.
No, because actually what happens is there's kind of a natural sediment basin there at the bottom, the old access road to the well. I'm sorry, to the old access road to the
It's a boathouse,
Dickinson
wasn't it?
boat dock.
Yep, the old
Boathouse.
house.
Went across there, and there's like a little culvert underneath it. And so it flows down into the wetlands behind that culvert. You know, behind that natural dam. But you know, these, in the past, they did it for a week or so. They never did it for a full year before. So I think we should look into it.
No, I definitely agree. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rich. Mary Wilson has her hand up.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the location of that well. Could somebody help me out with that?
And be happy to take in, well, I might be able to take and show you on, I can, 1 second. You know, anyone who wants is welcome to come down for a site visit. And I'd be happy to show you around. Let me see, I could take and show you on a map. I'm going to share a screen here in just a second.
I think while Bob is finding that, I'd just like to add, that there is no kind of proper retention area. It's literally dumped into the woods, if you will. And
Yeah.
that's a concern of ours. Again, it's one thing if they run it for a day or something to do a test, but to run it for any length of time, honestly, I think there should have been a retention pond already. But there isn't, you know, and that's just, I guess, years of history. But I think at this point, it's time to be looking at this. You're all aware that we have high phosphorus levels in the lake. That's part of what the algae problems are. And our concern is this is just going to add to it. So, you know, we're trying to be proactive and trying to do everything we can to try to keep any additional phosphorus or E. coli. We're getting a lot of both of those coming down the Mulpus now. And this is just going to add. So we're hoping we can do something to properly settle this water out before it gets back into the lake.
So, and so, you know, commission will look into this. So this is, this is the woodlands. The well is right about here in the end of this peninsula.
Okay.
There's a kayak cove here. The woodlands dock is right here. The woodlands swim beach is right here. This is the water department. And so the water department has an easement that covers this area. They don't own the land, but they have an easement that allows them to operate a well there. This is where their well house is. At a recent meeting, I believe they said they were going to try and put all the test equipment in their existing well house. And in the and there's a fire hydrant right about here. And so in the past, what they've done is they've run a fire hose. Let me call up the contour map. See if that shows. You can see that there's a fairly, so in the past, what they've done is they've run a fire hose up and over this hill, and they put it out right about here, and it goes down into this area down here, which is a wetlands. There's a stream that comes down here. And it's kind of a plain because it used to be that where the Woodlands Kayak Cove was the Dickinson Boathouse, and there was a road that was constructed by the Dickinsons that went through here, over here, up to the Dickinson's Boathouse. And so there's it's filled across here with a culvert underneath it into the lake. So and the culvert's kind of clogged right now.
Oh, so I didn't realize it, because when I saw it was running over the top of that land there, not through any types of culvert into the lake.
Oh, but it's
But
okay. So it runs down, but it runs down this hill.
Yeah,
Runs
yeah, yeah.
Down this hill into this area. And then
Yes.
from there, it flows into the lake.
Yeah.
But it definitely needs, you know, thank you for bringing it to our attention. It definitely needs to be investigated, and Anna will reach out to Fran tomorrow. And we'll put it on the agenda in the future. Okay?
And Anna, your email address is on the website, or just send it to LCC?
So I currently do not have access to the LCC. I think it's been forwarded to our land use director, but I don't have that password, and I've been trying to get the password. So
How about I forward it to Bob, and Bob takes care of it
Yeah.
and gets it.
Or,
given to
or
you.
you could send it to apetrie@lunenburgmass.gov.
yeah,
Okay,
APETRIE at,
Yep.
lunenburgma.gov. That'll get to her.
yep.
perfect. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there any other public comment? All right, back to our agenda. Seeing no other public comment. Let's see. So we have no minutes to discuss. It says on the agenda an appointment hearing. Annie, you want to bring us up to speed on this?
Yes, so before we get into the hearings, there's technically, it says underneath the new hearings, it says that there is a new hearing, though that is inaccurate. What it says is an extension for order of conditions, and looking into what is required for an extension request for an order of conditions. That is technically not needed for a hearing, especially for it to be advertised as a hearing. Within the act, it states that it is not required for it to be legally advertised for. So for future reference, it will obviously not go in the new hearing section, and it will be just in the general business section. That was just kind of a mix up on our part, or me and Rebecca's part, on where to place the extension request, as well as does it need to be advertised for, which it does not. Also, in regards to this extension request, this originally was issued, the order of conditions was issued in December 2019. And so this kind of falls under the COVID-19 order 42 for extensions and the expiration dates. So technically, their expiration date is technically Friday, but due to that order that the governor had put out, their expiration date is March 29th, 2024.
So we're not going to have that hearing tonight.
No,
First of all, it wasn't going to be a hearing. It was going to be an administrative decision, and we're not going to do it
Yes.
tonight because they don't need an extension.
yes.
Thank you so much, Anna. On to the next thing on our agenda. New business. I don't have any topics not known in 48 hours in advance. And so a review of conservation land improvement plans and grant possibilities. So I sent earlier within the last hour, I sent everybody a PDF. Let me see if I can't call that up on my screen and share it. Basically, it comes down to, let's see, Trails Grant. Let's get this down to a reasonable size. Let's share the screen. Matt Morrow, this is a picture. This is an aerial view of the front of, well, first of all, let's do some background. RTP grants are due the end of January. They make a decision sometime in June or early July about who gets the grant. You apply by the end of January. They make a decision by sometime in June. They don't actually let you start working on it until basically the beginning of 2024. So this is all long range stuff. And so what I'm proposing tonight is I'm asking, what I'd like to have happen tonight is for us to discuss the possibility of two different grants. One, a planning grant to develop engineering plans for 3 different locations. And the second is a proposal that Mary has, which is at the end of this, for a picnic area in a pavilion on a small town forest. And so first, and so I've spoken with Greg Roy about this, and he is willing to take and provide us with quotes for engineering services that he would hold for, a year and a quarter. Because, like he'd give us the quote now so we could put it in the grant. And then, we'd actually be able to get started with implementing, developing these plans in January of 2024. So I'd like to start with Table Rock, and I'm going to scroll down to this. This is Table Rock right here. This property right here is Table Rock, and Table Rock itself is up here somewhere. And the only existing trail right now is up this road. It's called the Old Stagecoach Road. It goes up to the main Table Rock area. There's also another frontage over here on Northfield Road And these two blobs here are wetlands. And you can see there's a house right here and there's a house right here. Presently, and so the sketch that is up above shows, wetlands in this area. There's wetlands in this area. And I had been hoping that the wetlands were only over about here and we could take and do a driveway up through here somewhere. But Matt Morrow generously donated his services and went out and marked the wetlands and did this sketch. You know, it's not an engineered plan, it's just a sketch. Anna and Matt went out and did this together. And so this is where Old Stagecoach Road is. These are the abutters. These abutters have rights to Old Stagecoach Road to the end of their property, which is right here. And they presently have a no trespassing sign right here that says it's road is not open to the public, which is not accurate. I have been, right now, the only parking we have for this is across the street on the other side on property that does not belong to the Conservation Commission. It belongs to Parks and Rec. I think we have to provide some parking right now. You know, and so our options for parking are, looking at down here, you know, where can we put parking? All right, we could put parking across the street. I mean, this is the Table Rock area. We could put parking, we can continue with parking across the street right here on the Parks and Rec land. But then in my view, we should take, if we're going to do that, we should build some kind of footbridge or something through the wetlands here and then build a trail up directly to Table Rock. We could put we could put a parking lot right about here that we would have to access, given the fact that there's wetlands all the way across here. I believe that since we have access over here, we can't do a wetlands crossing to get to it. And so we'd have to go up the driveway and then hang a left and put the parking lot over here. I would advocate that we put the parking lot as close to the front of the property as possible so that there's more eyes on it. And it's not as removed. We could put a parking lot over here, but you've got a house, you got an existing house on both sides, houses right across the street. And as you can see, there's wetlands here. You know, I didn't ask Matt to delineate those. But we could put it there. We could take them and be aware that no matter where we put it, the abutters are going to object. It's just the nature of the beast. When you try to put it in a parking lot, the abutters are going to object. We could try to put a parking lot up here, but as you can see, our land, this is where the frontage is up on Howard Street. As you can see, our land there is very narrow. They'd be right up against this house, fairly close to this house. There's a house right across the street. I don't think that's viable. We also have frontage on New West Townsend Road over here. This is Table Rock. This is part of Table Rock, but you can see the trails there aren't even on conservation land. They go on this land, this lot, which is privately owned, and then over down here it goes on to land owned by whoever now owns Settlers Crossing. And so I don't think that's an option. I think, you know, our options are, and I'm looking for discussion on this, to either continue to take and expand this across the street, which would require permission from the Parks and Rec, and that could interfere with their future plans to develop that land. And that would mean that people would be crossing the street. And in my view, we should take and put in a bridge across the wetlands here, so that they're not walking up next to this house. Or we could take and put a parking lot here. And my current thinking is that we should go up here and put a parking lot here and ask Greg to take and give us a quote to do that. But now would like to hear discussion from the members about, what their thoughts are on creating a better parking situation and a better access. The other goal is to create a better access. Right now, if you want to go to Table Rock, generally you take and you walk up this road. And it is a road. It's an old road. There's light poles on it. There's still legacy utility poles on it. It's not all that attractive. I think we should develop a trail up the middle of the woods that goes directly to Table Rock, which is up here, which is a pretty unique thing. So I'm hoping that there will be some discussion and people will advocate for one thing or the other at this point.
Hi, Bob, Jeff.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Wouldn't it make more sense to put the parking lot, I guess, to the east, that other property entrance,
Over
then-
here?
and then do a wetland crossing bridge across that, or a trail around it?
Well, and that's a possibility, I'd have to take and get Matt out there, but just know when we put a parking lot here in when I look at this area from the road, it looks, this is just the DEP polygons. The DEP polygons are notoriously inaccurate.
Yeah,
And when I look at it, just driving by from a Gestalt point of view, it looks pretty wet. But
Okay.
I would have to ask Matt to go out and see if he can, delineate the wetlands there to see if there's a path through where we don't have to do a wetlands crossing. The only issue with this so there's two issues with this. One is, is there a dry path through here where we don't have to do a wetlands crossing? And two, the pushback we're going to get from the neighbors. But other than that, that is a point.
and how many parking spaces? 6, 8, a dozen, 20? What's the norm for that?
Probably something like 6 or 8. I have to reach out to Adam Burney to talk to him about are there cutoffs that we should try to avoid so we don't cross some threshold where now the planning commission is going to want this, that, and the other thing because we're creating more parking. In our ignorance, we just created a parking space at the Lane property, didn't ask anybody, just went in and did it. And it's huge and it's beautiful and it's very useful. But I don't think we'll get away with that again, especially, right out there on Northfield Road. We're supposed to go to the Florida Planning Commission to do the provide parking.
I mean, that would just be my opinion. It's just to put 6 or 8 parking spaces facing north, right on the street. And that's kind of the least impact, and then just kind of find our way out there with a footpath. And even if you do have to cross a wetland, it seems like it's a much smaller area than that other section that you're talking about.
Thank you, Jeff. Anybody else?
I'll share my opinion, Mr. Chairman.
I would love that.
I'm kind of more inclined to do the parking area that you proposed over toward more towards Settlers Crossing. That's the kind of the incumbent kind of entrance area, because the namesake of the area is Table Rock. You have a much more direct path to Table Rock from that parking area, which I think is a super cool geological feature in this area, right in the town. the ravine that Table Rock and that rock feature, right? There's like the, I don't know, 4x4 kind of square, 4x4x2-ish square Table Rock that's there, but it's actually in a, a rocky ravine area that I just think is super cool to go to. And if we locate, and I've thought a lot about both of these two potentials, and I love walking out in this area, but if we located the parking area across from Old Farm Road, then, you're really talking about, like a mile and a half going over to Table Rock, which then I think is prohibitive to families with smaller kids and whatnot. And I would love for this beautiful area to be more open to families, because again, you guys forgive me, I'm really passionate about the outdoors. It's one of the reasons why I love this area. It's one of the reasons why I moved to this area. And I think the Table Rock area has some of the more unique geological features that kind of showcase Lunenburg and the geological history of Lunenburg, right? And so I really love having it closer to the Table Rock geological feature. And I think that, again, anything you can do that can encourage families, especially with small kids, getting out in the woods and enjoying nature, right? That means, you're planting those seeds for, adolescents and then, young adults to get out in the woods and enjoy it and want to help protect our environment. So anyway, that's my opinion for what it's worth.
Thank you, Mary.
Richard,
Go ahead, Rich.
just a quick question. That area that Mary is talking about, I think that's number 15 on this map you're showing us. How
Yeah.
many cars will be parked in that general area, and how much wetland is in the way they're trying to get a trail out?
Well, the wetlands are just, the wetlands are just down here. Okay, the wetlands are right, unfortunately, they're right down by the road. Here is Matt Murrow's sketch right here. Okay, so you can see where the wetlands are. So we'd have to go, the downside of this is they'd have to drive up off the road, and the parking lot would be away from the road. And people would be going in and out, by these people's house. But we have every right to do that. I mean, it's they're not going to like it, but I mean, that is the nature of conservation land. Is we have to, in my view, make it accessible for people to get to. I mean, the town's spent a considerable sum of money to buy this property, and right now we don't really provide any proper parking that, in my view, is safe. Everyone has to, park, way down here, walk up the road, cross the road, and then go up here, go past the no trespassing sign here, which shouldn't be there, and then walk up this road. And I think it would be a lot better if we could take and make a trail, up through the woods, which would be a lot more enjoyable than walking up, an old dirt road, which in some places is even paved. There's still a legacy paving. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
thank
I
you.
go on.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I like that plan.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, so
Absolutely.
in this area, we have one abutter that may be inconvenienced by it. In the other location, we would have two abutters that might be inconvenienced by it.
Yep.
And Mr. Chairman, I haven't been to this property myself. Where's that Table Rock feature on the map?
Here, I'm gonna take and call it up on, I'm gonna call it up on the GIS website. First of all, I gotta turn off.
Mr.
simulator.
Chairman, I think we need to take Jeff on a walkabout.
Yeah, that's on my list now to take my granddaughter up there. I think.
Oh, she would
Sounds
love it.
pretty
It is
nice.
so cool.
Okay.
Let's see.
But if what you're saying, Mary, that definitely makes sense. If you have to bypass that feature in order to park in that other spot, it makes more sense to put the parking here so that you can enjoy that.
Yeah, it's a lot more accessible in this particular, from this area than from the other. It's a little, this is such a, irregular shaped property. Sense of dimensions get kind of lost in looking at it, but it's huge. I mean, it's really huge. But yeah, it's the Table Rock feature itself is a lot more accessible from just above Matt Morrow's sketch here. And
Yeah.
and it's a fun thing for kids, honestly. It's
All
it's
right.
like, a little Grand Canyon, right? From a kid's kind of perspective. So I just think it's really cool.
So this is Table Rock. Let me see if maybe it'll show up better if I do a base map. This is the Table Rock property.
You're still showing the other map,
Oh,
Yes.
wait,
Mr.
wait,
Chairman.
I'm sorry. Thank you for helping me realize that I'm not doing what I say I'm doing. Let's see, where's Zoom? Zoom. New share. So this is the Table Rock property. This is Settlers Crossing Golf Course right here. This is Northfield Road.
Yep.
Here is Chase Road.
13. Yep.
Yep, 13. The DPW garage is
Right up there
19.
somewhere. Yep.
right there, 19. And this is Table Rock. It's got frontage on Northfield Road here and here.
Yep.
It's got frontage on Howard Street up here. It's got frontage on New West Townsend Road here. And I suppose it also has some frontage on New West Townsend Road over there, but the grades in the swamp over here make this totally useless. Plus, as you can see, this is I got the trails layer showing, and you can see, that the trails here, that they're not really continuous. So really, to me, it's like, it's either put it here or put it here if we're gonna provide parking. And currently, this parcel over here, number 9, is where my cursor is now. That's owned by Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec. Yep.
This parcel here, that's owned by Conservation. That's the Reno property, and we're going to talk about that in a second. And this is the Hirsch property, which is, I lump it together with the
Reno.
with the Reno property. Thank you, Mary. And in a minute, we're going to be talking about, planning to put a parking lot here. And the goal is to take and be able to have a trail that goes here like this, around like this, up here like this, go like this, go all the way up and get all the way to up to Willard Brook State Park, one continuous trail. Just FYI, this is not accurate. The assessor's map shows this little square as being part of conservation land. It's not, it's part of the land owned by the Powells here, where it's my understanding someone's still planning to put in some kind of agricultural greenhouse kind of thing there.
So where's that Table Rock feature that?
Oh, the Table Rock feature is right there. See,
Okay.
It's,
Yep.
and
So it's
right
near
now to get
Settlers.
to it, the main trail to get to it isn't even over our land. Someplace down the road, I'd love to take and talk with whoever owns Settlers Crossing about donating or selling us, some of the land up here, to give us some more rationalized borders. I don't have any idea why the borders are so irregular here.
Yeah.
In that canyon that Mary talks about really is almost in between our land and this land, which is owned by Settlers Crossing.
Yep. So that's like by the 6 tee box there. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, there's
Okay.
that you go up to the 6 tee box, and if you ever been to the 6 tee box,
Yeah.
and
The uphill
there's-
one. Yep.
there's one that's the super black one where you have to like climb up a trail,
Exactly.
and there's a rug up the top with a rubber tee on it, and you're way up in the air.
Yep.
I've never actually seen anyone hit from up there, but certainly I've never hit from up there.
But so where that, you know, where I was kind of, and Bob was kind of, Mr. Chairman was kind of talking about the parking area. It's like a half mile up to Table Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the alternate location is a mile one way.
And- and this red trail goes through a lot of wet areas. This
Yeah,
trail over here is basically a mountain bike trail or a foot track. And it does not go through a lot of it, but this trail here, unfortunately, has been dug up by ATVs and UTVs over the years. And every place where it went through any wet and any place where it was wet, it's pretty wallowed out. This trail here is unfortunately is pretty wallowed out all the way through up to here.
So I guess to make these continuous, it would make sense, you know, if you're gonna have walking trails coming up from property 9 going north, it would make
Yeah.
sense to put it on that area that Matt looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anybody else have opinion about parking for Table Rock? As you can see, and as Mary said, you know, it is a huge property. There's a lot of beautiful mountain biking trails up here. Some of this area up here is really very cool. You go through up here on these trails and you're overlooking swamps, and you're up on top of these rock bluffs looking down into vernal pools and laurel swamps. Really very pretty. This is all a very steep hillside right here. And these trails down here are nice. I would love to take and enter into discussions with Settlers Crossing about gifting or possibly selling this land to the conservation at some point in the future. In this land over here, this is all the
tree farm.
tree farm. So. If there are no other comments, I'd like to go back to, let's stop the share. Mike, you have thoughts one way or the other on parking at Table Rock? I guess I'm gonna do a straw poll. To elicit.
Yeah, Bob, I like, you know, the idea that you and Mary kind of are in agreement with, and about, you know, only I guess only having one house to have to deal with instead of two. But that one house, is that the one house that also has the no trespassing
Yes, it is.
sign? Are they going to continue to have issues with us if we decide to go this route? And do we
I
know who would-
expect we will always have issues with this house, no matter what we do.
Okay.
They strenuously objected at the original hearing, at the original town meeting when we purchased the land about using that road. You know, I had said to them, I was going to try and find some alternative access, but when I said that to them, probably a couple months ago, or maybe it was a month ago, because I went to talk to them about their no trespassing sign. I thought there might be a way through the frontage there, but that was before Matt went out and delineated the wetlands and told me, and I learned some things I didn't want to know, so.
Okay. What about the left-hand side of that property? Is there, it looks like it's very close to the wetlands. Is there any way that, you know, a little drive could be constructed and then the parking lot on the other side?
You're over here? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not sharing the screen. I gotta share the screen.
Yeah.
Well, let me share the screen. Come on. Now, how do I get to my Zoom screen? Here we are, Zoom. Oh, there you are over here. Problem with two monitors. I'm looking for the Zoom screen and it's on the other monitor. All right, here we go. Share screen. Okay, so here we are with
So-
Matt's sketch. So what
Yes,
do you?
on the very left-hand side of that, right there, is that the beginning of the wetland? And there's no room to put any, because it looks like it tapers from that corner.
And unfortunately, Mike, when you go out and look, there's a huge legacy stone wall that comes down here. Or the
Okay.
remains, you can see it once was a good stone wall, now it's a rubble pile. There's a
Okay.
huge rubble pile here. And that little black spot there, that's
Yes.
watered. It's hard up against, right up against the stone wall. I would have loved to have been able to sneak a
Okay.
driveway through there, but it's not gonna happen.
Okay, now you answered my question. Yeah, once again, it's too bad we have a neighbor issue that is not amenable to, I can just see what they may be saying, or whether it's been private for so long, they just assume that
Yeah,
it should continue to be private, but
yeah.
never anything, it's never always easy here, but I still like the idea of trying.
Thank you.
And
Anything else, Mike?
I think that's it.
Thank you. Rich, you got any thoughts that you're willing to share?
At this point, Bob, you've been out there far more than I have, so I would defer to your opinions on how to best develop that.
Okay,
Yeah, I wish I had more for you, but
all right,
you've kind of
thank you.
hit on all the points that I would have been concerned with, and we're running out of options.
Yep. Thank you. Then I want to move on to Cowdrey Conservation Area, the Harold Hardley Wildlife Viewing Platform. This is Hickory Hills Lake over here. This is Townsend Harbor Road. And there is a house right here. There's a house right here, and there's a house right here. And we own, and these two houses, this one and this one, use the Conservation Commission's land to access their property. They don't have a formal easement. There's no easement, but they've been doing it for years, and we're certainly not going to ask them to stop. At least there's no easement that I can find in the Registry of Deeds. But at any rate, there's an existing trail that comes down here, around here like this, around here like this, goes through the swamp. This is the DEP wetlands thing. Around over here like this, and the Lunenburg Snow Riders built a beautiful, handicapped accessible wildlife viewing platform right here. But unfortunately, the reason why they built a wildlife viewing platform right there is that there's a beaver dam across the brook right here, and there's a huge beaver lodge right over here, and you can go out there at night and sit there on the platform and watch, in the evening or in the early morning, and watch the beavers, and see herons and other good stuff. But the beavers, being very industrious, they flood this road, so this road is typically underwater through here, and so you can't get to the Harold Harley viewing platform unless you got boots on, or, you know, what, during a high water condition, or, you know, you're riding your mountain bike, you know, you don't mind riding through, you know, where the water's up to your axle kind of thing. And so, I'm proposing that we, apply for the engineering plans, to improve the drainage and raise the road to this handicap viewing platform, in a grant application. It was because we'd have to apply for an NOI to our, you know, to ourselves and to the Mass DEP, because obviously it's, you know, it's an existing roadway right through a wetland. So, how do people feel about this?
Well, I can contribute my opinion about it. I, again, being really big on wanting to get more people out into nature to enjoy it. I really think we ought to do, if we've got, you know, the intent was to have a ADA accessible area. And I think we ought to try to support that, right? Having it flooded is not conducive to supporting an accessible wildlife viewing area. So I'd like to do whatever we can to try to support that, right, and get the roadbed raised so that we can get more people out there in nature.
Thank you, Mary. Any other comments about this?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Jeff.
would we get another grant for the construction of it?
Yeah,
Or would that be, okay,
I mean,
so the-
it's like when you apply for a grant for the construction, you know, the
So the
first thing,
grant's
one of
just-
the things
it's
I
not
asked
just
you,
for
is,
the
do you
engineering,
have
it'd
all
be
the
for the-
permits you need?
Okay.
You know, and the answer would be no, because we'd have to apply for an NOI, and that would mean that we basically, you're never gonna get the grant if you don't have all the permits you need. And so, but I believe we're going on my memory of what it was like when I applied for the grant, that you could also apply for a planning grant. And so, you know, I'm advocating that we apply for a planning grant, you know, just for engineering planning services to, you know, for these three projects.
all right, so this is step one. I got
This
you.
is step
Okay.
one. This is
Yep.
like, if we get this in 2024, we get that, we wouldn't be able to apply, if we we're gonna do it with an RTP grant, we wouldn't be even able to apply for 2025. And we wouldn't be able to get the grant until, like, to actually do the work till like 2026.
Okay,
So, this is a very long range, view of things. You know, but how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And then the last, part of the planning grant is this is the, Reno property here that fronts on Chase Road. This is, the orchard over there. And Lanny's Orchard. This is Northfield Road. And, we're about to have a logging project here where they're gonna take and put an access in here. They're gonna create a landing zone here, which we've asked them to leave cleared. So with the idea that afterwards we could, you know, apply to use it as a parking lot. And again, if we're gonna do this, it's fairly close to the wetlands, so if the driveway does end up within 100 feet of the wetlands, we'll have to apply for an NOI, or maybe an RDA in this case. And in any case, we'll have to apply to the planning board, you know, to put in a parking lot. And all of that will require engineered plans. So, I'm looking for support, you know, that they can also apply for the engineering plans for the driveway permit and for a parking lot for the Reno property. And so what I was hoping now is that someone would make a motion authorizing the commission to apply for a planning grant for these three projects with the knowledge that we would be committing matching funds from the Timber Rights Fund, because the state puts up, for every $4 the state puts up, we put up one. Richard Burch.
Yeah, quick question, Bob. And maybe I missed it in the discussion. Do we have any idea on how much the engineering is gonna cost for these three sites?
Not a clue at this point,
Okay,
but we would, and so here's my dilemma, Rich. I would love to take and say, all right, we'll get this all done by our second meeting in January. And we'll have an exact number by our second meeting in January from Dillis and Roy. You know, and so we know exactly how much we're committing from our Timber Rights Fund. But we all know sometimes meetings get canceled in January because of weather. And so I was hoping to have something I could fall back on tonight, some kind of vote I could fall back on tonight, if for some reason we don't get to meet in January, so that we don't miss this grant window.
Mr. Chairman, too, I'd add that even if we commit to doing it right and we move forward and we get the grant awarded, we're not obligated to spend the full funding of the grant. I mean, ideally we would, but if for some reason the commission felt like it went outside of our budgetary priorities, we could only, you know, like say we wanted to do 2 of the projects instead of 3 of them, that would still be, we'd have the ability to dial it back if that's what, you know,
And,
we wanted to do.
and the other, thank you, Mary. And the other thing is that if we have the information, I will definitely bring this back for a vote in January. If because Greg seemed to think it wouldn't be a big deal to come up with numbers. Go ahead, Rich. What else you got?
so at this point, we're looking for the design for all three, or are we getting a price to do them separately? If we don't do one, can we still do the other 2? I think I heard Mary say that we could.
Yes, we could. So what we would do is we would look first. So the way we would proceed is as follows. But again, this is totally open for discussion by the commission. What I'm proposing is that we would go to Greg and say, we'd like a price for each of these 3 projects for engineering services, you know, to do this. You know, this price, you'd have to hold it for a year and a quarter, which he was good with when I talked with him. He said that wouldn't be a problem. You know, because of course, you
Okay.
know,
I just was just asking quick. My only concern is the Harley viewing platform. That may be a fairly problematic fix, and we don't have any parking out there already. Reno would be great to get parking and access to that property, and the same with Table Rock, you know, working on the logistics out in Table Rock. But I just
But-
wanted to make sure if we didn't move forward with the Cowdrey, we were still able to move forward with the other 2.
and these are just engineering, you know, as Jeff was pointing out, you know, we're not gonna do any of this work. We're just it's just a planning thing. You know, if we want to actually then do the work after we get it, the engineering services, then we'd have to apply we'd have to apply to ourselves for the NOIs or RDAs that would be involved. And we'd have to apply to planning and to the planning board, you know, for the parking, and we'd have to apply to the DPW and the town for the driveway permits.
And then I think
Nope.
particularly for
That
the,
answers my questions, and no, I would be in favor of moving forward with the engineering, the grant to perform the engineering on these 3 parcels.
I'm gonna take that as a motion, if that's okay with you.
I would make that as a motion.
Thank you so much. Do we have someone to second it?
Second,
Second,
All right, a motion and seconded by, the person I heard first was Jeff.
yep,
Roll call vote. Rich,
Aye.
Jeff,
aye,
Mike,
aye.
Mary,
aye.
Richard,
Aye.
and I for myself. Mary, you want to take us through your proposal? You can either use the thing I put together here, or you could share your own screen.
I'm happy to go through your what you're showing, Bob. It makes it a lot easier for me. I can just talk to it.
So earlier
Go ahead.
today or yesterday, Mary sent me this email where she's proposing a parking lot, a picnic area and pavilion at Small Town Forest. You know, here is Small Town Forest. This is the Cowdrey area. There's a trail. If I take, and let's see. If we look at this, this is a trail that comes over from Cowdrey. This is Mulpus Road. There's an existing parking lot right here. We got a different ADA grant to put in this parking lot and to put up a gravel road up to here. And Mary, tell us about what you'd like to do here.
Yeah, so what we have in this area is actually as you come out of the parking area and walk into the trail area, it's relatively flat grade. There's a open area that was left from kind of the landing area from the logging that was done several years ago, and that flat area in my mind it just really lends itself to a picnic area. And again, you know, my interest is getting more families out into, you know, to enjoy our conservation lands, and families even with, you know, folks that have mobility challenges and whatnot. So what I thought would be really cool in this area is to do more grading in this open area so that, you know, there's still a bunch of, you know, large shards of, you know, wood still around, limbs and whatnot, to further grade the interior area so that it's level. They're not tripping hazards there. Add some picnic areas. Actually extend the graded trail so that it's a perimeter trail around that open area with compacted gravel. It'd be really cool too, I think, to add like a simple 20 by 20 shade pavilion. Again, you know, expecting to do this through grant proposals and with grant monies. And then so in blue, the blue trail would be the graded ADA compliant compacted travel gravel that goes up and around this this already open area. And then I put also in light green, there's a trail that comes out behind, and it's not on our trail maps or anything, but it's a I think probably an old a logging trail or skid path, right? That comes out of the back of this, goes uphill and connects with what is now our yellow trail that's a cart path. And I think it'd be really cool if we actually made that compacted gravel as well. I don't think we could call that ADA compliant because there's a little bit of a grade there that I think would keep it from being ADA compliant. But you know, I could just see kids out there with their, you know, bikes and their training wheels, right, while mom and dad sat out with the picnic in the other area. And I think it'd just be a really cool area to, again, to get families out you know, in the woods, and it's already part of our existing trail system, right? Could be a base for going up and into the small town forest, you know, going uphill towards Townsend on the Yellow Trail, or even, you know, a base for going a little bit downhill on the Orange Trail, going back into the Cowdrey area. So anyway, that was kind of my my dreamscape about what to do with that natural open area. And again, thinking about you know, maybe doing a separate grant, and seeing, you know, if we could get some money secured for getting some contractors out there to do that additional grading, and at the very least maybe putting in that perimeter trail. And maybe we could keep the shade pavilion and maybe the youth bike trail as a you know, follow on phase 2 or something.
Thank
Thoughts
you.
or questions?
I would just comment when I applied for the grant, I had to take out any mention of new trails in the small town forest and in the Lane property and in the large town forest, because they were in turtle habitat. And
Oh, this is turtle habitat. You're right.
and they were gonna ding us in the grant rubric for that. And so I took all of that out. Originally, I had proposed some new trails, and I took it all out of the grant, because and I don't know, I haven't looked at it. I don't know if the RTP would pay for a pavilion. You know,
I think the pavilion may be a more controversial piece of it. I mean, there is stuff in the grant about bathrooms being consistent with passive use, but nothing about a shade pavilion. So, you know, that may be something that we want to do as a phase 2 as opposed to phase 1, so that we at least get, you know, picnic areas out there and a perimeter trail.
Comments or questions from commissioners?
I did have one quick question for Mary. And maybe you had already said it. I know there's a gate in there to keep vehicles from driving up. Are you proposing to put the gate on the other side of the picnic area?
Oh, no, I wouldn't be proposing that. There is a, I don't know if it's a gate or if it's just a log that kind of keeps the vehicles from going up there, but the current path kind of goes beside that. And I think that's fine. I don't think we want to do anything that kind of encourages, you know, we already have so many ATV kind of challenges over in Table Rock. We certainly wouldn't want to encourage it here, but no, I wouldn't propose changing the kind of gated or access restriction there, just to make certain that we had kind of wider, you know, and I think existing the wide enough path for like wheelchairs or scooters or, you know, mobility assistant devices of getting folks up to the picnic area.
Okay. And the only other comment I did have is they had used that for a landing area. So I'm not sure when they did the logging. So I'm not sure how much debris would have to be moved, or if you're just going to compact just the trail that skirts around the left side of that clearing.
There's not a lot of big debris up there. I mean, there's not like trees or anything up there right now. But there is, you know, bigger branches and like, you know, big shards of bark and wood, like, you know, 18-inch kind of shards of wood up there. And I think that would need to be removed or kind of graded over in some way, just so there's not tripping hazards. You know, I'm always mindful when I walk through there that, you know, I'm lifting my feet up far enough and not getting distracted and tripping on something.
Yep, yeah, because I know the roadway goes around, but the main part of that may be fairly deep with the debris that was left there. As far as
Yeah.
trying to pack it down.
Yeah,
No,
good point.
It's a good use of the spot, and we're gonna continue to try to limit traffic up that roadway into the clearing.
Thank you, Rich. Anybody else?
Yes, Mr.
Mike
Chair.
LaRouche, go ahead, Mike. Sorry, Mike.
On your proposal, Mary, you have open picnic table area with 6 tables. Are you thinking about incorporating ADA accessible picnic tables that have a space for a wheelchair that doesn't have a bench? Have you seen those before, Mary?
I have not seen those, but I think that's a great idea.
I was in Cleveland and they've incorporated some of those designs, and they're amazingly fashionable, and it's very clear that if you have a wheelchair, you can be at the same picnic table that everyone else is having a good time on. So I would just like to at least note that those are available. I didn't pursue it any more than observing them when I was in Cleveland, but I thought it was a nice idea. So I'm sure they're probably available in our area.
That's I think that's actually a fantastic idea. I'm gonna go look that up.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, anybody else? Mary, I think you're gonna find if you die, I know that you were brainstorming here. And I think when you dig into this, you may find that you'll have some challenges of, about maybe funding the pavilion or whatever, but I'm all for letting you try. And so I'm looking for a motion to authorize Mary to apply for a grant to provide this picnic area on the small town forest.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second, Mike?
Thank you, Mike. Roll call, Rich,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and I for myself. And if and when we have actual numbers, we will bring this back for a further vote at a future meeting, if possible. Thank you. Mary, I applaud your ambition and energy.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, back to our agenda. Let's see. Switching to OneDrive. First of all, I'd like to talk about the email. I have a terrible time with the new email, but mostly because it conflicts with my own Microsoft 365 account. Does anyone else have trouble with the new email, or is it just me?
No, I do as well.
So, and on here, they would like us, Rebecca and Anna are proposing that we switch from Google Drive to OneDrive, which would be linked to our email accounts and all that good stuff. My only comment about that was I'd like to know a little more about it, and I would want to be assured that we could take and bring everything over that's in the Google Drive onto the OneDrive. And I was talking to Rebecca about how right now we don't have access to all of our all of our orders and conditions and all our other stuff, and I thought we should. So But I mean, how do do people have feelings one way or the other? Do people have
Hey, Bob.
feelings one way or the other about migrating to OneDrive on Microsoft?
Bob, this is Jeff.
Yep,
Yeah, we transitioned about 6 months ago at work. The Outlook was pretty easy to understand, but the OneDrive just seems like it's a disaster. It's very difficult to organize and it's very difficult to search, in my opinion. I don't know if you ever used it before, but it seems to be, a lot of the other employees at the company they have the same concerns, that it's just very difficult to work with. So, and the Google Drive is very easy. So,
thank you, Jeff. Anybody else have comments?
I guess one question would be, what capacity does the OneDrive have? And will we all have access to it as freely as we have access to the Google Drive?
Yeah, and at the moment, like Anna does not have access to our Google Drive, so we have to address that.
Oh, why does Anna not have access to our Google Drive?
I have no idea. I just learned of that like earlier, like about an hour or two ago.
Yeah, it's just pretty much Rebecca. She's been sharing all of it. So it's pretty much getting that information from her. And I think they're probably, once I log in, I don't know if there's like a lengthy, like authentication, process of like sending codes, like who's it connected to? Because usually when I log into like my own Gmail, like I have to send like a code to like a phone or something to log in. It's just I haven't asked for like the username password if it's like a generalized like shared username password.
Well, we'll have to
Generally,
take,
with the Google Drive, if you get the username and password, if you're using it from the same computer, there may be an emailed code that goes to whoever the administrator is, who I think at this point is Adam or Rebecca.
Okay.
But generally, once you have access to it, you have continuous access to it. You don't have to log in every time.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as you're doing it from the same computer as your home computer, your laptop, the office computer.
Okay.
And I'm surprised the office computer still doesn't have access to it.
yep,
And I guess I would make a request if we could, my biggest problem with the Microsoft email is I cannot forward my emails out of it. If I could forward my emails out of it, it would make it much easier. But the
Yeah.
administrator has set up non-forwarding, no forwarding rights.
yeah, I have, since I'm signed into, I have my own Microsoft 365 account. And it won't, and, I can't even, I used to be able to fool Chrome, but it's by saying I was a guest and log in, from a guest account, but I can't do that anymore. I'm forced to, right now, the only way I could get the email to open tonight was to use Microsoft Edge, which is a problem for me, but I'll solve it. But I will get some more information from Rebecca after the holidays about, what would be involved in switching to OneDrive.
Okay.
Bob, I have a question.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, so these are both like a standard Google Drive that's not costing us anything, and then OneDrive would be similar, not costing commission anything?
Well, it's costing the town something. I mean, the town pays, I think it's $87 or something like that for
Okay, so it's commercial.
every Outlook license. So every time they add an email address, it costs them, it was either $57 or $87 a license.
But then the drive usage and the drive
And I
capacity
believe the
itself
drive
is not.
usage goes with that, but I'm not 100% sure. That's an assumption on my part.
Okay, so right now we're just assuming flat costs no matter which
Yeah.
one we decide.
Yep, I don't think cost is an issue here.
Okay. Because I mean, whichever way we decide to go moving forward, sometimes it's easier just to create an archive of the old data and leave it in the existing location, right? And create an archive path or shortcut in the new. And then just as a migration kind of optimization versus
Yeah.
switching everything from one to the other. Anyway, I don't have a preference one way or the other.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I just love the way now I could take and go into the Google Drive. Rich taught me this, and search on anything and it'll pop up. Have we ever had anything from, 100 Woodland Drive? Well, you go in and you search it, it pops right up. So it's really powerful. I haven't not, whoop, I'm gonna. Well, I don't know if we've been recording this whole meeting. I'm glad it's being live streamed so that she'll be able to watch it on YouTube.
Speaking of which, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
we do generally do two recordings. You and Anna does a backup. Is
yeah,
that
that's
correct?
true.
We are actually recording on our end in PAC, so just FYI.
Perfect. All right, thank you, Eric.
Sure.
I have not yet been able to get a hold of the people of 100 Woodland Drive. I was gonna take and ask for, more money in the Mackey's PO, but there's been a tremendous amount of confusion and misinformation, and I forwarded you guys an email earlier today from Rebecca that apparently, even though I was concretely told that the last year's PO was closed out, it was not. So we currently have more than enough money in our Mackey's POs, even to accommodate, the building of kiosks and anything else we need to do. So if anybody has any questions about, I gave a budget update last week. If anybody has any questions about the Mackey's POs, I'd be happy to answer them. Hollis Road residents, update on maintenance work, exterminator. Mike, you got anything to say about that? Again, I didn't have any input into this agenda, so I don't even know if we need this agenda item on here, but
as far as I know, I mean, first, let's go with the windows. The window install did go performed on the day that it was going to happen, and they have completed. There was a little bit of caulking on the exterior of the building that they would like to finish up on December 29th. I got permission from the tenant to do so. They'll be there early in the morning. There was a couple of lock issues that the tenant was having issues with, and I kind of suggested that I'm sure while they're there, they'd be glad to help the tenant figure out, some of the issues surrounding the locks on some of the windows, as I assured her that all of those windows should be able to lock easily, and that will occur on the 29th. But as far as I know, all the windows are in, and I've asked for a photograph of just an example of the window installed, and I hope to get that by the next meeting.
and
And as far as the exterminator, that was the last thing that I had asked. As far as I think it just needed to be initialized for it to be okay with the exterminator, but as far as I know, that did occur, but I have not gotten definitive answer from Mr. Gagney, who I guess was going to get that done.
Mike, could you possibly correspond with, I think it was Jassy Bratko from the North County Land Trust? I think you were copied on an email. They hold the conservation easement on the Hollis Road property, which they call the Hawes property.
Yes.
And they had some questions about the maintenance, or, you know, that they wanted some of the trash cleaned up, which I think you've already done.
Yeah.
And they had some other questions. If you could just take and reach out to her and respond to her questions, because I got another email from her like 2 days ago saying I haven't heard back. You know, I'd like to clean this up and get it off my to-do list.
And her name is Jessie.
Jassy Bratko, I think was the email. I'll look and see it. I'll forward the email to you again after the meeting.
Sounds great. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much, Mike.
You're welcome.
Certificates of compliance. Anna Petrie.
Yes, so both of these certificate of compliance, start off with 90 Hemlock Drive. It is septic repair / replacement. And pretty much they had sent in a letter saying that the location is stabilized and reseeded, and I drove by myself and can confirm this as well. So
And
they've
so-
pretty much completed the whole installation and everything is stabilized.
I'm looking for a motion to approve a certificate of compliance for 90 Hemlock Drive.
So moved.
Second,
Motion by Rich, second by Mike. Roll call. Rich,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mike,
aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Richard.
Aye.
Aye for myself. And tell us about 137 Spring Street.
37 Spring Street is pretty much the same situation, also on the water, had a septic repair / replacement, and was sent a letter and to say that the site has been stabilized and seeded and vegetation is growing. So it is all complete and looks good to me as well when I did my drive-by.
So again, I'm looking for a motion to approve a certificate of compliance for 37 Spring Street.
So
moved.
moved, Richard.
Richard, seconded by?
Second.
All right, second by Rich. Roll call. Rich,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Richard.
Aye.
Aye for myself. Enforcement, I see we have Mr. Galloni here from 23 Cove Road. Mr. Galloni, do you have something you wanted to say?
If I could just back up for a quick second, Mr. Chair.
Absolutely, go ahead. And
I believe
besides,
on
it looks like we
certificate of
lost Mr. Galloni.
Okay, I believe on certificate of compliance that had an engineered plan submitted, we're supposed to get an engineered as-built signed. I believe that's part of our regulations.
What did it say? Anna, can you look into that?
I can look into that. Let's see, what we received was just the
The letters.
letter and the request.
The Board of Health may have it.
Yeah. I didn't find anything on our ends for that. So yeah, I'll just check with the Board of Health on that.
Good to know. We have to, help our new staff, adjust to everything, that we do here in our ways. So. We lost Mr. Galloni, apparently. Yes. Anna and I met with town council about 23 Cove Road. And we're going to Mr. Galoni was complaining that he had lost his rights of appeal because so long had passed since the initiation of the first enforcement order, and there'd been a lot of back and forth over this. And between him and the prior agent, we had, we're on our third agent since this has started. And so we're going to be reaching out to Mr. Galoni and advising him that we're going to put him on the agenda for the first meeting in January. And I believe Anna will tell us that we have RDAs coming in for Oak Ridge, Pine Grove, and Arbor Street. And what were you able to find out about 205 Sunset, the Beers lot?
Yeah, so and yes, that is correct for the other enforcement orders. They have been sending submittals and filing fees our way, so that is in progress. And so as far as the 205 Sunset, I tried finding any documentation on, like, especially correspondence with Nadia and this property. I did find one piece. It's an email that Nadia had sent to this property owner about, and they are requesting engineered drawings and are pretty much doing that. And it said it could be out to 4 to 6 weeks, pretty much, when they're going to be hearing back. And after I have seen this email, I haven't seen anything else like on file in regards to this. So I assume it is them still waiting on their engineered plans, but since I just found this email, I'm going to go in and retrieve that person's email and email them and ask them on, if they are still waiting on their engineered plans for this property.
Okay, well, keep after it.
Mhm.
Back to
Mr.
our.
Chairman?
You go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I think at this point, the engineering should be done. If not, I think we really need to elevate that.
And so what are you suggesting here, Jeff?
Well, it's a notice of non-compliance, I believe, right now.
Yep.
Yes.
What would be the next level?
I believe enforcement order.
Okay. Well, I think we should
I'd
put
like-
that in on the email that, it's tentatively going to go into enforcement if it's not addressed
That's what I'll say.
sooner than later.
Send them an email. I'll address that since we have not heard anything. And if we continue to hear anything, this will turn into an enforcement order.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nothing new on Howard Street driveway. Nothing really new on the timber harvesting. And we've already done conservation land in the Mackey's PO increase for kiosks. Do we have any committee reports?
There was a open space planning meeting this week, but we didn't achieve quorum, so we weren't able to actually convene the meeting.
That's a shame. Thank you, Mary. And are there any communications or comments from members of the commission or public comment?
The chair, I'm sorry, I dropped out at the beginning of the discussion on 205 Sunset. How did that end? I heard something about he was concerned that he had lost his ability to appeal or.
No, that was 23 Cove.
Okay, that was 23 Cove.
23 Cove. And town council has advised us to take and reach out, put them on the agenda, issue a new enforcement order just for the shed / greenhouse, and start the process all over and start and do a clean process that night.
Okay.
Just because there was so much back and forth and you know, and there's some alleged ambiguity and stuff like that, but he thought it'd be better for all concerned. It would give Mr. Gallonia his appeal rights. And, you know, and we'd have a clean process, you know, for the greenhouse. So that's what we're gonna do.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, Richard here.
Go ahead, Richard.
Just wanted to go back to that 205 Sunset because I'm looking at my notes. Back on October 5th, Nadia indicated that she was going to write a letter for noncompliance. The letter for noncompliance was going to be updated to an enforcement order. I don't know if it ever got sent out or not. And the other thing was that Beard, I guess, Beers made comment that they were making engineering plans for the lot that they were going to submit. And that was back in October 5th. And I don't think we've had any updates since then.
Yep, and so, and that's why Anna's gonna be, you know, reaching out to them, making them aware they have not fallen off our radar, just because, you know, we've had turnover in the office and getting some response, and absent that, you know, taking it to the next level.
Thank you.
Anything else? If there's nothing else, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second,
Second.
Roll call, Rich,
All right,
Jeff,
Aye.
Mike,
aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Richard. Richard?
I said aye.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I missed that. And I for myself, everybody have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year and Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas to
Happy New
everybody.
Year.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bye-bye.